when you're ready.
I'm just going to do that quick thing of showing very quickly how you throw a pot. We all love a bit of that, don't we, how we throw pots. And just make sure my wheels were moving. You can move your wheel in all directions, but the conventional, if you like, the orthodox way, certainly for right-handed people, is where the wheel's moving clockwise. So we'll do that. I've got a lump of clay. What is that? 600 grams maybe? I don't know, not very big. And I'm using this kind of system that potters make their own stuff, make the best tools we use are stupid things that we've made for texture or whatever. So we have these fancy things like Garrity tools and all these lovely bits of things. And don't get me wrong, as potters could fairly buy stuff every day of the week, but things like that you just make are so great. First thing, I'm going to show you how to make a pot. I'm going to teach you how to make a pot. First thing is getting in the middle. Not as easy as it looks. I am probably making it look a bit more easy there than usual. That's fairly central. And we'll give ourselves some water. One of the first things we do is get everything in the right way. I'm going to try and centre it. I'm going to use a little bit of force to do that. And once I've centred it, which is, I don't know, maybe it could take 7 years to learn how to centre. It's not easy. I won't necessarily get it completely right. We're going to centre this clay. It's really important that it's in the centre. If we can't centre it, we're going to be in trouble. We use a little bit of speed. We'll notice now, ignoring that part, we don't mind that. But looking at this part here, we've now found what essentially is the centre of the clay. If I was to put my finger on here now, it's really not going to move much. That wasn't a good demo because my fingers were moving itself. So we find the centre and then we drive that down into the centre. Again, it's one of those things. As a potter, you can sometimes make this look a little bit easier than it is. And let's get this down into the middle. And we're fairly central, we'll go with that. Again, what's important for me at the moment is that middle there is pretty much almost still. That's going to help me. So, step 1 is centre. Step 2 is open it up. Let's get into the middle of there. I'm going quite fast today, but normally do that nice and easily. And then without throwing it, taking it off the centre again, so maybe using this as a sort of a help, we're going to open that again. I'm using this bit of kit which makes it a little bit unsteady on the wheel, but that's okay. The advantages are I can take this pot off pretty easily. Okay, so I'm opening it up. All that stuff that we normally see. Looks like this is going to be a bowl, I reckon. Haven't quite decided. Step 1, centre. Step 2, open. There's only 3 steps. Lift. Before I do that though, I'm going to just do what's called compressing my base. If I don't compress the bottom of my pot and make it nice and sort of compact, then I get what's called an S-crack. What's not evident from what I'm doing now, but is genuinely the case, is that, I just threw that off, classic thing is you're supposed to leave the clay without letting the clay know you've left. What's happening here, which is not really that evident, it's all looking pretty sane and sort of chilled, but there's a whole load of forces acting on this clay at this time. Centrifugal forces in particular. So if you don't compress your clay at the bottom and you leave that a bit loose, what you do is when clay has memory, believe it or not, it's called clay memory, and what you do is you get a clay that when fired pulls away like this. And we get these what we call S-cracks, and they look like these perfect S's at the bottom. Okay, so we've got this going on. What did we say? We've got number 1, didn't we? We centred. Number 2, we opened. Did a little bit of work on the bottom because that's important. Just going to give myself a nice sort of roundy bottom now. I've got this stuff going on here. I'm probably going to tidy that up at this stage. This is another handmade bit of gear. They're the best. Sorry Garrity, but they are. They're all good. Take a little bit of that off there. Partly because what I want to do is sort of there's loads of ways you can lift, but there's two in particular. I'll show you two. One is a claw lift. I really like the claw lift, and I use my left hand to do that. At this point in time, the two hands are always working together. So I'm just going to literally lift like this. And get that wall coming up to me a little bit, so I can start to think about how I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to go in for a second lift. I'm going to back off the gas a little. And then finally, I'm going to do a very quick one to show you how the bowl would be shaped. And there is the making